So welcome to the Diploma in Social Media for Business Informational webinar. My name is Mary Thomas. I run Concise Training and I've been using social media since 2009, both in a training environment, teaching hundreds of businesses and individuals, but also in a client environment. So we manage social media for clients. I will let Di introduce herself.
Hi everyone, yes, my name is Di Dawson and I'm one of the assessors and trainers on the Diploma Programme and been in business for quite a few years, about 25 plus years now. So looking forward to telling you more about the Diploma.
Okay, so I'm going to turn off my webcam now because that's going to help your bandwidth.
Yes.
Okay, and Di, are you going to explain any meeting?
Yes, sorry. I was just trying to reply to Pauline to say that, Pauline, hopefully it might settle down now that we've turned our webcams off, like Mary mentioned. Yeah, so this is the tool. This webinar tool is what we use as part of our training delivery. And some of you, you found the chat pane, which is good. And if you haven't, it's on the left-hand side. And that's where we're going to ask you to communicate with us in the text chat pane if you've got any questions. And we'll do our best to answer or respond to questions as we go. But we're going to have quite a few pause points for you to have a chance to ask and for us to answer. Now, if your sound is suffering a bit, it is best to see if you can turn off as many background programs as you can, such as the email, social media, Dropbox, just give the bandwidth a chance. And if you're on dedicated internet connection, that's great, a good Wi-Fi connection. But if you're on mobile internet, then you may find that it's a little bit hit and miss. But we are recording this so that you can watch the recording afterwards as many times as you like. So I'll hand back over to Mary, who's going to get started with the information.
Great. So before we start, just a little bit about what makes us different. I know some of you are from the Caribbean, and we work closely with the Advantage Caribbean Institute as our partners in delivering this qualification. Myself and Di were asked by City and Guilds to help write the units and criteria for the course. So this is a course that we know inside and out. One of the advantages of that is we can be quite flexible to ensure that you can get the most out of it for your environment. It's really important to us that we make the delivery of this practical and relevant to the real world. We don't believe this should be a memory test. So we do ask for a portfolio of evidence because that's what City and Guild require to make sure that you meet the criteria. The alternative way of doing it is an exam, but we feel a portfolio is much more relevant to what you're doing. Our materials are up to date. We update them regularly. In fact, we're updating all of our e-learning courses as we speak, and we update them every 6 months. All the webinars are updated every time we run them, because the ever-changing world of social media means that we have to. I'm sure you are all aware of the Facebook changes that happened last month. I've just put those into the e-learning materials over the weekend. We offer great support. It's really important that we provide you with detailed, constructive feedback that's relevant to your situation and your context. We also support you beyond the course. So I've helped learners write their first proposal. I've helped learners find their first clients. I've helped learners with references to get into jobs, to get new jobs. However you want your support, we'll offer that. And we ensure we're really proud of our quality. We're all qualified assessors and trainers. We have an internal quality assurance process to make sure we remain consistent in our delivery and assessment. And because we have a City and Guild Centre that we work with, we're subject to external quality reviews as well. So this isn't just a tick box exercise. This is a quality course. So today we are going to show you some of the details about the programme that we're delivering and we're talking about today, and some of the key outcomes. We're going to talk about the training and learning element of the programme, and we also cover the portfolio and assessment side and talk about support as well as feedback. So we're going to start with an overview of the two qualifications we offer and their similarities and differences. And as Di said, we hope to answer some of the questions you may have in mind as we go through, but do drop questions into the chat pane and we'll either reply immediately or make sure we do respond during the webinar. And at the end, we'll also ask for and answer questions. If you prefer not to answer questions in front of the group, you can email me or have a chat with me after the webinar. I'm on WhatsApp and mobile and Messenger and whatever works for you. I'm happy to talk to you. So we do have two main qualifications that we offer, two diplomas, diploma level qualifications. We're focusing on the social media for business today, which is all the bubbles on the left. But you can see we offer a larger qualification, which is all the bubbles on that slide, which is the diploma in digital marketing. The Diploma in Social Media for Business, which is the one we're going to talk about today, is a 12-month course, or we're going to describe those topics in more detail in a moment. The Diploma in Digital Marketing is a 15-month course, but includes additional topics like more marketing, email marketing, video production, website creation. Both diplomas are delivered as guided, structured distance learning courses, and you'll see details about how we do that as we go through. So, Di, we're going to talk about the Diploma in Social Media for Business.
Thank you then, Mary. Yes, onwards. So this course does require you to be in a business or have good access to one so that you can use that to think about when we prompt you to think of your business throughout the programme. You can see that if you're producing content and developing relationships, you clearly need to know a lot about the business. Now, we find this qualification is best learnt by this practical implementation of what we're teaching you, both with respect to using the channels as well as thinking about your audience, your buyer personas, your business, in terms of mission statement, values and so on. However, we do realise that not everybody is going to be able to use the channels of the business they're working with. So we're flexible as much as possible and we propose a number of options. So you might want to see if a friend or a charity has a business that you could work with throughout the course. Or you could set up your own ideal business that you would like to set up eventually and use as an example. Some people, some of our learners, do actually go away and set up social media consultancies. And throughout the programme, they're developing this business that they eventually launch fully. Or you could use a combination of business and personal. So there might be some questions in the assignments that you could answer on behalf of the business you're working with. But there might also be questions or showing us evidence of using perhaps the social media channels or some of them for your personal use. So we give you that flexibility to choose. And if you're unsure, we will always explain as to how you can best get the evidence for the assignments. So we're now going to have a look at some of those bubbles that Mary was showing just now, and we're going to just talk about it in a little bit more detail. I'm going to be giving an indication of some of the outcomes that you will take away. So first of all, we're going to ask you to examine the business. So when we talk about thinking about the business, obviously it's the one that you have in mind that you're either working with or associated with. So we're going to ask you to examine competitors of the business. You're going to be looking at plenty of other types of business, and we give you lots of scenarios to respond to. So in the learning materials, we present to you scenarios such as Hillary's hairdressing salon, Kevin's sports shop, Desi's events management business, and Tim's virtual assistant business, but a whole lot more. And in each webinar, we look at Fred. Now, Fred's at the bottom left hand of the slide. He's got an organic farm shop in Oxfordshire. So we find out more about his business in each webinar. And that's what we try and do. We try and use his business to explain some of the concepts and the principles as we go. And most of our learners do say that these scenarios and our explanations really do help them. So that's a good way of stretching your concept of business. The we do look at the topic of marketing and we examine various principles. You'll be shown models to help produce various strategies and documents for the business. You'll look at a business's marketing plan and carry out a basic marketing audit. We ask you to talk about the business you're working with. You're going to be talking about the aims, objectives and values. And if this is something completely new to you, then that's great. You've got plenty to learn. And we're going to be thinking about marketing and what types of marketing you do, whether it's traditional or digital. Of course, all marketing needs to be worthwhile, so we're going to be looking at measurement, so you can determine the return on investment and consider any actions that you might need to take. One of the outcomes that you're going to produce is a social media guidelines for staff in the business, and that's quite exciting when you get to that stage. Now, don't worry if you're someone who doesn't like theories and models, and there's plenty of people that don't. We try to explain, and we're always happy to explain in a variety of different ways, and we do have templates and examples to show you. And on each slide, you'll see that there's an orange box which indicates the City and Guilds qualification name or the unit name, and in the purple box bottom right, that suggests the e-learning materials that are associated with these topics, and we're going to be talking about that learning in a moment. And we often use the term digital marketing, as this is the promotion of products or brands via one or more forms of electronic media. Social media is one such electronic media, albeit a very important one, and it's certainly a key focus of this course. So we're going to ask you to look at the main channels that are out there, the Twitters, the Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn and YouTube, and you'll explore other tools and channels such as Pinterest, Instagram and social bookmarking sites. So you're going to set up or review what you use, and you're going to see how they relate to your digital marketing strategy. We see how to make a decision about what works best for the business. So this course is ideal for anyone who uses social media already and would like to know more. But you don't have to be an expert in all of the channels, clearly. We consider social media optimization, and that's the practice of enhancing and improving and customizing the social media profiles so people can find your business, but also to encourage what's called engagement with your audience. So we cover that in quite a lot of detail. One of the things you're going to be finding out as well is about content marketing. And you're going to create a range of content, and we give you a choice. It could be a blog post, social media updates, graphics, video, whatever's going to work best for you. And of course, you have to optimize that content so readers and viewers can find the content and follow your business. It's pointless having fantastic content if nobody can find it. So we talk about that. We're going to encourage you to use a content schedule to help manage the creation of content and the scheduling for release to various channels. So we look at ways to help you make the best out of content you've produced, so you can amplify the message to a big audience, as big as you can. But we also look at relationship marketing and examine how to develop relationships with customers, suppliers, and other influencers and stakeholders, so they know about the business and what value it provides. And we do have some creative topics, and one of the creative topics is to produce a digital advertising campaign to a target audience. And we do look at the theories and principles of digital advertising to reach a target audience. And we ask you to think about what you've experienced in terms of campaigns on the web and on mobile. We look at a range of types of campaigns, and you'll plan and create a campaign for a scenario. Of course, if you wish to run a campaign for your business, then we'd be happy for you to gather evidence as you plan and create it. But we appreciate that many of our learners might not be in the position to physically run a campaign, so you get right up to the point looking at a scenario. You'll be keeping an eye on who is reading or viewing the content that you've produced, and you're going to see what others are saying about your brand. So we'll ask you to consider what it means to manage your reputation online and examine legal issues, especially regarding the production of content. And digital risks are something all businesses need to be aware of. So one of the tasks is to carry out a risk analysis and produce a crisis management plan. And it's quite important in this very hectic and instant world of communication to be aware of the risks that it brings to a business. We look at search engine optimization. Now that's the art of enabling your website and content to be found in search. So you're going to be looking at analytics to check if your website is attracting visitors, where they go, what they look at, how long do they stay. You're going to be critically analysing many websites for how effective they are. And so SEO, or search engine optimization, is absolutely essential for a business. So we'll ask you to carry out a review, an SEO review. But part of this topic as well is looking at measurement and analytics. And they're essential to know because you want to know if all your digital marketing activities are successful, to find out what's worked well and what hasn't worked very well. And part of the programme also looks at the topic of mobile marketing to see what's available, what technology can offer, the limitations that mobile presents sometimes. And although you're not producing a mobile app, you're going to examine how certain apps can be used for a business. So that's part and parcel of that assignment, is to start thinking about how they can be used. But you do consider how your website is seen by mobile consumers. And as the use of mobile increases worldwide, that's going to be something very important. It's quite an eye-opener for many of our learners to realise what websites look like on various mobile devices. Going back to talking about creative topics, one is image creation. And statistics suggest that images are shared multiple times greater than content without. So we do stress the need for you as a social media marketer to understand how images can be used in social media updates and blog content and websites and in campaigns. So you're going to be producing images for your profiles, for your updates, the website, campaigns. So you're going to show skills in image editing. So again, if that's not a strength of yours, we're hoping that you're going to learn quite a lot of that process. And another creative task will be to choose to create either a blog or a video for the business. So you decide which content's going to work best. Now, alongside these topics, we look at the principles of marketing to help learners work closely with colleagues to form strategies. For example, there's an ongoing task that's the creation of a social media strategy for your business. This is a really useful activity. We provide a template and we give you prompts to complete different parts of that template at different points in the programme. And of course, there's going to be loads of other roles a marketer might have, but we've touched on a few within this course that are relevant within this to this programme. So there's quite a lot of content to, and Mary will also talk later about, you will receive a copy of her book. And I think, Mary, you're going to be talking about that a little bit later. So there's quite a lot of content to deliver over the next 12 months. And I'm sure you've already got some knowledge and confidence about some of these topics already. But we really do hope you've got gaps to fill too. So what we're going to do is I'll hand over to Mary, but it'd be nice now to see if you've got any questions at this moment in time, or if there's a topic that you're really excited about exploring. So just to make sure that you're still hearing us, would you like to pop something in the text chat pane? And thanks, Barry, you've got no questions at the moment. That's great. You might well have some later. So has anybody else got any questions? And just so that we know that you can still hear, you can just say no in the text chat pane. Because I'm going to hand back over to Mary. She's now going to be talking about how you're going to learn. That's great. Claire, have you just got any questions at the moment?
Okay, good. So how are we going to get all this content over to you? So we have 13 webinars at scheduled dates. It's the induction webinar plus 12 learning webinars. It works out one every 3 to 4 weeks. We work around holidays and the like. We use AnyMeeting for the webinars, just as we're doing now. There is a mobile app for AnyMeeting if you want to access it on an iPad or tablet. And the purpose of the webinars is a chance to receive live input, to hear fresh material, up-to-date news about topics, and we provide tips and advice before you start each assignment. And the aim is to make sure that you're well prepared to start assignments, but you also know what's going on in the social media world right now. The webinars are held at the same time each date on the schedule. Attendance is mandatory, either live attendance or viewing of the recording, and the recording links will all be shared after each webinar. And what we find some learners want to do is they watch the recording live, and then when they come to the assignment, they look at the recording again, just in case they've missed anything important. In addition to the webinars, there are 15 e-learning courses available to you. That's over 180 hours of learning. And some of those courses do have CPD, which is Continuous Professional Development credits. For those of you in the UK, that will be relevant. We will ask you to do a certain of those courses each month. So we start with the Social Media Strategy for Business course. This is about a 17-hour course, so we don't recommend you do it all in one go, but little and often works well. And you also get access to the courses for 3 months after your course completion. Now, obviously, as the materials are updated every 6 months, you could get access to 3 updates of the materials, depending on when the updates fall. We also create a monthly update document, and we share that with all learners. So you have the very latest news, tips and information about how the social media channels are changing at your fingertips. Now, just to show you how these e-learning courses work, this is the Twitter one, for example, and it's made up of 3 e-learning objects, and you just need to click onto the link to open up the object, and it opens in a new tab. So navigation is easy. This one shows object 3 of the Introduction to Search Engine Optimization course. There's a menu on the left, and you can either use the menu or use the next or previous buttons bottom right. Our slides contain text, images, sound files, videos, resources and templates to download, and many activities and exercises. The exercises within the courses are just to reinforce your learning. They don't form part of the assessment. So on this slide, for example, there's a sound file as well as a button to find out more information. So there's an awful lot of content in these e-learning courses, and you can go back in over the whole time that you're doing the course. So this interactive slide shows a question and a prompt to note down your ideas before clicking onto a suggested answer. And we encourage you to participate in the exercises because they do reinforce your learning. Many objects include slides with videos, so you can either view it on the slide or there is a button to view a larger video. And then videos are instructional how-to videos with me or one of my team giving instructions as we show you what to do. Many people like to watch the video on one tab or on one screen and follow along in another tab side by side. All of the e-learning courses are available to access on iPads and other tablets. In theory, you could access them on a small screen, mobile screen, but I suspect it might be a little tricky. But they're a fantastic resource that have an awful lot of updated information in there. So Di is going to take you through the assessment, but if you've got any questions, then do put them into the chat area.
Thanks, Anne-Mary. Yes, we'll pick up questions again. We'll pause and pick up questions a bit later, or answer as you ask. So in terms of assessment, so Mary's just taken you through how we deliver the training. In an ideal world, we would meet our learners, but obviously some we meet, but mostly the training is delivered online. Now, also, the assessment is carried out online, and there are 12 assignments, and the assignments are Word documents that are downloaded just after, or available to download just after a webinar that we deliver. So at enrolment, we provide a schedule of dates showing webinar dates, assignment release dates, which tend to be the webinar dates, and also when assignments need to be submitted by. And so it's really clear from the start what dates you need to be working towards. We do provide a portfolio. This is online, of course, so you can upload evidence easily, and it's also the same place that you receive feedback. Now, at induction, we go into this in a little bit more detail, so you get to grips with knowing how to use your portfolio, but we feel it's fairly straightforward to upload your work. In addition, we have an online area for you, and this is a Diploma Classroom. Now, the classroom, again, we go through at induction, but it is a place to go and download the assignments. As I mentioned, there are documents, and you complete the assignments. They consist of short answers. We invariably want lengthier comments. You might have a table to complete. You might be responding to a scenario that we give you. You might need to give us links to sites, websites that you've carried out research on. You might need to take some screen prints. So there's a whole range of different ways to answer questions in an assignment. Now, in addition to that, we might ask you to upload other files, such as voice recordings as an alternative to writing, a slideshow. You certainly will be uploading image files. And the questions are designed to draw out the full understanding of the topic so you can demonstrate your knowledge and skills. And when we ask for answers, we might ask for a list, but predominantly we need full explanation, analysis, comparison, and opinion. And we try to encourage a good standard of English expression and quality of work. Of course, if a question doesn't make sense, we are available to rephrase or explain, of course. You're also asked to carry out research, mostly online, but some might involve talking to other people in the business. And of course, as you progress, we ask you to carry out practical tasks. You're going to show us that you're putting the theory into practice. And feedback to assignments, as I mentioned, is given inside the portfolio, and we try to give that within 2 to 3 working days if we can. We give quite detailed feedback, so it's clear how well you're progressing. Now, with all this, Mary's mentioned you've got the e-learning, you have the webinars, you've got the assignments, you've got the practical tasks. So you're probably wondering how much time it's going to take to do all of this. And it's quite difficult to say, really. I mean, it does depend on your starting point, naturally. If you've got lots of gaps to fill in your knowledge and skills, you're going to have to put, obviously, a lot of effort into gaining those skills. But of course, you've got to have time to absorb the new information and learning, because what you're wanting to do is produce evidence to us against the City and Guilds criteria. So you're going to be planning for the time to attend the webinars or watch the recordings. Usually the webinars are about an hour, every 3 to 4 weeks, so there's a bit of time there to think about. You need time to access the e-learning. We give you an indication of how many hours each e-learning course roughly would take based on our learner feedback in the past and a calculation of time. Some are larger than others, some are smaller, but we don't suggest that you go through the entire e-learning module in one go. You need to split it up, and again, planning that time ahead. You obviously need time to read and follow up links or do research, time to do the practical tasks. I mean, social media marketing means using social media for the business, and this takes time each day. So we'll be observing you on social media to confirm you're putting learning into practice. But of course, you need time to do the assignments. You're going to be writing them, proofreading them, checking them, uploading. And, if a resubmission of work is needed, you need time for that. We do ask you to put aside some time for us to have a touch base tutorial over Skype or FaceTime or WhatsApp or whatever, just to keep in touch. So time management is quite key. We suggest you could put aside 10 hours a week for all of these listed activities, but this could be more or it could be less, depending on your skills and gaps. And if time management isn't a good strength of yours, then you do need to ask us for for some tips on time management. But we do recommend this time is spread throughout the week. Ideally, spending time each day is likely to be more productive than trying to cram it into one long day. But of course, it does depend on what you're doing and when. And if you haven't, I don't know, again, you can pop in the chat pane if you have, but if you haven't experienced an online course before, you might need quite a bit of support from us to keep you motivated. Doing a distance learning course is quite sometimes challenging, and we might need to help you keep motivated. Now, we aim to give you constructive feedback throughout, so you should clearly know how well you're progressing. And we're also going to support you by phone or email or Skype or whatever. And we touch base once a month, certainly with a progress email, to let you know where you're at. But the programme does move at a fairly fast pace, so you might feel overwhelmed occasionally, or you might feel you're slipping behind. So all you do is drop us an email or call as soon as you can, and there might be alternative ways to produce evidence to make it a bit more manageable for you. And sometimes people prefer to perhaps record evidence, voice record evidence while they're, well, not while they're driving, but while they're travelling, because then they're more able to talk rather than type. Something like that might be available. But we do offer unlimited support, so we give as much as you want during the period of your diploma. Okay, I'll pass back to Mary. And it's question time, picking up questions, and then the last couple of slides.
Thank you. So we have a number of learner stories on our website and also learner reviews. This is one we had recently from somebody who is actually currently doing the course. A number of our learners have gone on to set themselves up as freelance consultants. A number have gone on to find new jobs in the industry. A number have used what they've learnt to promote their own business or their employer's business. We have a learner at the moment who is looking after, he's got a family business of nurseries, and he's using what he's learning on the courses to promote his nursery business. We have another learner who has just, she started when she was in India. She then came back to Wales where she lives, and now she's gone back to India again. Her business was to promote a hotel in Sri Lanka. So we really are international. So she was promoting a hotel in Sri Lanka and used what she learnt on the course to create them a new website, to promote their social media, to set their social media up, to find them more visitors. She has also just won a job to promote some tourism companies in India, and I helped her put the proposal together for that. So we have a number of success stories, and we can talk to you about more, and our learners, I'm sure, would be very happy to discuss their experiences with you if that would be of interest to you. Again, this is a good time to stop for questions before I sort of go on to the next steps. And again, if you could just let us know that you're still out there, or whether you've got any questions at the moment. If there's something sounds interesting to you, it would be good to know. Great, I'm glad you're still there, Greg. Okay, so I'll go on to the next bits. So the benefits of doing it with us. I think one of the benefits, which we perhaps don't list here, is that Di and I are your trainers and assessors. So not only are we giving you the support, we created the course, but we are also your trainers, assessors. I have a team, but this is something that I really love doing myself, and so it's something that I'm reluctant to hand down to my team. It's something that we both get a lot of fun out of, a lot of joy from helping learners go through the course. But to go through some of the benefits that are on the slide, we are very flexible. You can learn online wherever you may be. So we've got learners around the world. We have learners that in the UK that access at 3 o'clock in the morning. We have learners in the UK that access at 12 o'clock at night. You really can learn whenever you want to and wherever you happen to be on holiday if you want to. You do get that personal and constructive feedback. Many questions that we ask on the assignments are about the business that you're working with. So therefore, this response from us is going to be relevant to your business, and sharing how we've seen it work for similar businesses in the past. I use social media all the time. So alongside Concise Training, I have a second business called Concise Digital, where we actually manage social media for clients. We create websites for clients. You'll learn from our experiences of working with those clients. I also work with a number of other clients in other situations on face-to-face training. And again, you'll learn from my experiences of working with those clients. You'll receive a copy of my book, Social Media Made Simple, which is a workbook which you can use going forward. You'll get lots of downloadable templates and useful documents. You'll get a real opportunity to expand your practical skills in the social media arena. It is a very practical course, but you'll also learn some theories and principles, so you'll know why you're doing what you're doing, as well as how to do it. And we talk about buyer personas and different marketing theories. Hopefully by now you'll have understood that we offer support, and we do go on about it a lot. It is a recognised City and Guilds qualification. It is an accredited qualification. So it's something that you will need to work towards to get. You can submit portfolios, submit your assignment evidence as many times as you want. There's not really so much as a pass-fail, but you won't pass it unless we think you really understand what we're trying to teach you. It's not a tick box exercise. The fee will vary. This is the fee in the UK. It will vary wherever you are in the world, and you will need to contact Advantage Caribbean Institute if you're in Barbados, because they're the partner organisation, and you'll get far better deals with currency exchanges and things if you go directly to them. So you get 180 hours of e-learning. Well, more than that. You'll get 13 hours of live webinars, 12 hours of training plus the induction. You'll get the unlimited support, and you'll belong to the Concise network, both while you're doing the course, but also after the course. So we do continue to talk to you and include you in our alumni and include you in our updates after the course. So what happens now? Hopefully you're really interested in doing it. Hopefully you're excited by it. So Greg is online now. So if you're in Barbados, Greg will be in touch with you. And if you're in the UK, you can email me, mary@concisetraining.net. I will be emailing everybody anyway to give you a link to the YouTube video, and in the UK, I'll give you a link to our registration document. The induction webinar is next Monday, so at the same time as this webinar, next Monday, and you will receive a learner pack full of relevant information to get started, and we're ready to go next Monday. There is a limited number of places because we like to keep it personal. That's the way we've decided to run our business. So Di and I do take the learners, and we want to keep it as a manageable group size. So we do have a restricted number of learners. Happy to take questions now. More than happy to take questions after the webinar. If you've received an email from me already, you'll have received my mobile number, and my WhatsApp is exactly the same, except it's got +44 and you lose the 0. Or if you'd like to set up a chat with me later in the week, then that'd be great as well. So thanks very much for listening, and I look forward to talking to you in the induction webinar next week. So I'm happy to take any questions, but I'm going to stop the recording now and take questions offline.